My girlfriend insists on wearing high heels and a long dress every single time we go hiking. When I finally ask her to wear something more practical, she called me controlling. Now she is furious and I honestly don't know if I crossed the line. Hello everyone, I am Tazeen and today's AITA story is about a simple walk that somehow turned into a full-blown relationship argument. My girlfriend Eva and I are both 30 years old. We have been together for almost 4 years. Overall, our relationship is great. We don't fight often. We are usually the couple everyone says is surprisingly drama free. But somehow, one tiny issue kept coming back. Every Sunday morning, we like walking a beautiful riverside trail just outside our city. It was not a difficult hike, but it was not exactly a casual side hike either. The trail stretched for almost an hour each way. Some parts were paved, other were dirt paths with loose roads, mud, and uneven ground. Most people who walk there dressed exactly how you would expect. Running shoes, leggings, shorts, hoodies, nothing fancy. Then there was my girlfriend. The first time we went, she showed up wearing a long maxi dress, full makeup, gold earrings, and high heels. Not small heels, actual heels. I honestly laughed because I thought she was joking. I smiled and asked, "Are you changing before we leave?" She looked confused. Why would I? I pointed at her shoes. "We are going hiking." She looked down, shrugged, and simply said, "These are comfortable enough." Comfortable and high heels? Those two words usually don't belong in the same sentence. I don't want to make a big deal out of it, so we went anyway. For the first 20 minutes, everything seemed fine. She walked confidently, smiling, taking pictures, even joking about how nice the weather was. Then we reached the unparked section. Within minutes, things changed. Her heels kept sinking into the dirt. She had to grab my arm several times to keep her balance. She slowed down a lot every few minutes. She had to stop to wipe mud off her shoes. I offered, "We can turn back if you want." She immediately shook her head. "I'm fine." But she clearly was not. By the time we reached the end of our trail, she looked exhausted. Her feet were hurting. Her shoes were covered in dirt. Even so, she refused to admit the outfit had been a bad choice. On the drive home, I tried bringing it up gently. "Maybe next time wear trainers." She smiled. "I like dressing up. It makes me feel good." That was the end of conversations. Or so I thought. The next weekend, we decided to do the same walk again. I assumed she would wear something more practical. Instead, she showed up in another elegant maxi dress, another pair of high heels, hair perfectly styled, like we were about to have a dinner at a fancy restaurant, not hike through mud. People stared, some smiled. One older man even joked, "Bit oversized for a hike, is not she?" I laughed awkwardly. She laughed too, but I could tell she had heard him. After the walk, I finally said something. "Babe, I think next time you should dress something more practical for this walk." She looked at me, her smile disappeared. "What's wrong with what I'm wearing?" I replied carefully, "Nothing's wrong with it. It's just not really made for this kind of walk." She closed her arm. "So now you are choosing my clothes." I blinked. "No, I am just saying this trail is hard enough without heels." She did not answer. She simply looked out the car window for the rest of the drive home. I had a feeling this conversation was not over. The following Saturday, I decided not to say anything. Maybe I had overreacted. Maybe she would surprise me. I pulled in her driveway. She opened the front door. My jaw almost hit the floor. Another long dress, this time bright red, a brand new pair of black high heels, perfect makeup, even a matching handbag. She looked like she was heading to a wedding, not a riverside trail. I smiled awkwardly. "You know we are still going for a walk, right?" She smiled proudly. "Yup. I look nice, don't I?" I said, "You always look nice. I'm just worried you will struggle again." She kissed my cheek. "Relax, I will be fine." At this point, I would have started keeping a spare pair of sneakers in the car. The walk started exactly like last time. People looked at her, some smiled, others whispered. I noticed several jokers standing around just to look at us. One woman even complimented her dress. "You look gorgeous." She smiled proudly. "Thank you." For a moment, I thought maybe this was why she did it. She enjoyed standing out. She liked the attention. About 30 minutes into the walk, we reached the rough section again, loose road, mud, tree roots, exactly where she had struggled before. Within minutes, her heels started sinking into the ground. She stumbled. I grabbed her arm before she fell. "Careful." She quickly pulled away. "I am okay." 5 minutes later, she slipped again. This time, one heel got completely stuck in the mud. She had to take the shoe off just to pull it free. The bottom of her dress was now covered in dirt. Her makeup was starting to melt from the heat. She looked frustrated. I quietly asked, "Do you want to head back?" She shook her head. "No, we are finishing." We kept walking slowly, very, very slowly. By the time we reached the end, she looked exhausted. Her feet were bright red. She was limping, but she still refused to admit the outfit had made the walk harder. On the way back to the car, a teenage couple walked past us. The boy laughed quietly. "Bro, why she is hiking in heels?" His girlfriend elbowed him, but they had both already laughed. I felt my face burn with embarrassment. Once we got into the car, I could not keep it anymore. I took a deep breath. "Can I ask you something?" She nodded. "Why do you keep wearing dresses and heels here?" She looked confused. "Because I like them. But you can barely walk by the end. Your feet hurts. You almost fell twice. And everyone's staring." She turned around me. "So who cares if people stare?" I replied, "I do." The moment those words left my mouth, I knew I had made things worse. She stared at me for a few seconds, then she quietly asked, "You are embarrassed by me?" I quickly shook my head. "No, that's not what I mean. I am just saying that there is a time and place for certain clothes. If we were going for dinner, I would never ask you to wear trainers, but this is not a dinner, it's a hiking trail. It just made sense." Her expression changed instantly. She closed her arms. "So now you are deciding what's appropriate for me to wear?" "No, I am asking you to wear something practical. That's a different." She looked out of the passenger window, then said something that completely caught me off guard. "You are trying to control me." Silence. I honestly did not know what to say. Control her? That had never been my intention. I was not asking her to stop dressing up. I was not telling her what she could wear every day. I just did not understand why she insisted on making a simple walk so much harder for herself, or why she seemed so determined to ignore every concern I raised. That drive home was the quietest we had ever had. She looked at me like I had insulted her. "I can't believe you are making such big deal over clothes." I rubbed my forehead. "It's not just the clothes, it's that every single time we come here, you complain halfway through the walk. You say your feet hurt, you ask to sit down every 10 minutes, you struggled on a dirt trail, and then you tell everyone this hike was not enjoyable." She closed her arms. "So now it's my fault." I said, "No, but if you know we are hiking, why wear 6-inch heels?" She shook her head. "Because I like looking nice." I nodded. "And I like hiking without worrying you are going to twist your ankle." She rolled her eyes. "You care too much about what strangers think." That caught me off guard. "I care. You are the one who spent half the walk asking if people are staring." She opened her mouth, then closed it. For a second, she did not have an answer. We finished the walk in a complete silence. The drive home was even worse. That night, she posted a photo from the walk on Instagram. The caption read, "Never let anyone tell you how to dress." Within minutes, her friends flooded with comments. "Queen, wear whatever makes you happy. He's insecure." I did not reply, but something interesting happened. One of her closest friends commented, "Girl, were not you complaining your feet were bleeding?" Another friend added, "Did not you say you wish you had worn sneakers?" She deleted both comments within minutes. Later that evening, she finally came into the living room. She sat beside me without saying anything. After a long silence, she quietly asked, "Can I ask you something?" I nodded. She looked embarrassed. "Were you really embarrassed because of my clothes or because you thought people are judging me?" I answered honestly, neither. I was worried because I knew you would end up miserable. You were not dressed up for a hike. If we were going for a fancy restaurant, I would be an idiot if I showed up wearing muddy hiking shoes. She stared at me, then slowly smiled. "I never thought about it like that. I thought you were trying to control me." I shook my head. "I don't care what you wear. I am just saying I just want you to enjoy yourself. And honestly, I hate seeing you in pain just because you did not want to pair sneakers." She laughed. "A spare pair would have fit in my bag." Exactly. The next weekend, she surprised me. She showed up wearing leggings, a hoodie, and a trail shoes. I could not help smiling. She noticed. "What?" I laughed. "Nothing. You just look ready for a hike." She smiled, and I bought heels. I blinked. "What?" She opened her backpack. "They are for dinner afterward." We both laughed, and for the first time, we finished the entire walk without a single complaint. A few days later, I decided to post the whole story on Reddit. I asked one simple question: AITA for asking my girlfriend to dress more sensibly for a hike. The replies came in fast. Some people said, "YTA, she can wear whatever she wants." Other wrote, "NTA, you were not controlling her, you were asking her to dress for the activity." But one comment got thousands of upvotes. It simply said, "There's a difference between controlling someone's style and suggesting the right there for the situation." Reading that, we both laughed because by then she was already shopping for a new pair of hiking boots. Honestly, this was not really about clothes, it was about communication. Sometimes people hear criticism when all you are trying to say is, "I don't want to see you suffer," but what do you think? Was he being controlling or was he just being practical? Let me know in the comments and I will see you in the next one. Bye bye. Tata.